What's up, guys? TheDevildogGamer here. Today we're going to talk about the game that I think is going to rule my 2023, and that is Kerbal Space Program 2. Now, of course, we got a lot of things coming out in 2023, including Stalker 2. But me and Kerbal Space Program have a history, and this is one of the most anticipated games for me. I have been watching it like a hawk. I've been waiting for it. It's been delayed. But Kerbal Space Program 2 is looking like it's going to be an absolute fucking gem, and I can't freaking wait for it. So if you're new to the channel, I have tons and tons and tons of Kerbal Space Program videos. I loved that game. When Kerbal Space Program first came out, it was just a small little indie game that nobody really thought was going to turn into what it did. And over blood, sweat, tears, and toils, and the modding community, it turned into just pretty much the best space game ever. I mean, if you want to be an astronaut, this is the game you play. If you like, building spaceships, this is the game you play. Kerbal Space Program is just such a joy to play. Given, even with the bugs and stuff and the Kraken, it's just such a fun, rewarding game. And if someone had to describe it to you, you'd be like, that doesn't sound fun. And then you play it and you're like, I gotta get to the moon. I gotta get there. I gotta get there. When they announced Kerbal Space Program 2, though, I was a little apprehensive. It's very hard to make a sequel to a game that was just so stellar, in its first iteration. And then also Take-Two being involved, which we know Take-Two has a history, and they really botched some stuff. They're not huge fans of modding. And Kerbal Space Program had a huge mod community that included some super rock stars. Like the guy who made the BD Armory mod went on to make one of the best VR games that's out there, VTOL VR. And there's just some really good modders in the KSP community, and it got me a little worried about Take-Two's involvement. But the actual devs that are working on Kerbal Space Program 2, I've been watching all the dev vlogs, they are absolutely just huge fans of Kerbal Space Program. They want to make the best sequel that they possibly can, and they're just really passionate fans, which gives me a lot of hope that we're going to get something that's absolutely amazing. Like when it comes to some of the stuff that they're building for Interstellar, just things that are ideas right now. They actually went to physicists and stuff like that to say, like, if this was built, how would it look? How would you handle the heat? What would you have to do? And they got actual scientists involved for the stuff that's just an idea to help make it as cool as possible and realistic as possible in the game. Now, this is releasing in February of 2023, so we got a Q1 release after it's been delayed, but it is releasing in an early access form. So we're gonna get just the game, and you'll be able to go to the solar system, the close one, and then you'll start getting the tech trees and things, the science, and then you'll start getting the colony, where you'll be able to set up colonies, which is something that wasn't in the base game, but mods added and was so freaking cool, and they're streamlining it, and it's going to be amazing. And then they're getting, more exoplanets, other solar systems, and interstellar travel later on down the road, which I'm okay with because it'll allow them to kind of focus on certain areas first without just having to focus on the entire game and fixing everything and optimizing. They'll be able to get everything set up on the first iteration, the next iteration, and so forth and so forth. Which is cool, and I like that. I like that approach because the original Kerbal Space Program had a lot of growing pains. The engine really wasn't made for what it was trying to do and was severely limited. And if you put mods on, you were just hoping for the best majority of the time. Things just got real choppy. The physics with it was got kind of uncontrollable, and that's what kind of made the game kind of fun. You would build these crazy contraptions, and sometimes they would make it, and sometimes they just disintegrate on ascent. But the new engine is going to be able to handle a lot of this and allow a lot of room for you to, extra space and memory and things like that to mod your game and take up the opportunities to build it the way you want to, and not have to worry about let me reduce some textures here because this is going to be a lag fest. I'm really looking forward to seeing the iterations that they put out with this. The building is going to be optimized. Building before, if you didn't know how to do it and you're starting to build your own spaceship, it got kind of a little crazy. And then once you added in mods, it was just like, where the fuck is everything? And what part goes with which part? And I don't know what's going on. And now they're optimizing all that. So the building space will be larger. You'll be able to actually build massive ships without having to get mods. You'll be able to organize everything, tweak everything to when you're building these spaceships. and it'll allow an easier time to where you're like, oh god, this didn't work after an hour of building. Like, you know, you'll be able to see your mistakes while you're building and not have to trial and error multiple times. It will also be easier for people to access. Now, it is, if you don't know anything about how spaceships launch, you're really not going to get anywhere. But after trial and error, you start to understand it, some tutorials. The game will help you understand a bit more of what you're doing wrong and let you get to space a little easier. Because, well, once you get to space, that's when all the real fun begins, because now you got colonies up there, you're going to be able to build spaceships on other planets, launch to other solar systems, and it just right out of the box. Like, that's not even modded. Like, you know, that was all the modded stuff that you had to do for Kerbal Space Program, but now this is going to be in the actual game. I'm excited to see what the future of this game holds. A lot of the things that everyone focused on modding is going to be available pretty much right off the bat once it hits in the early access, which will leave kind of a lot of opportunities open for those said modders to not only improve on those aspects, instead of making them themselves, they can improve on the things like colonies, you know, food, making more aspects of that, but also creating new outlandish stuff on top of that, because they don't have to deal with, well, I'm going to make a whole mod about interstellar travel. We already got that in the game. Now all you got to do is make like warp drives and all kinds of different stuff that, you know, or make different variants of everything, fuel types, you know, maybe we'll do more resources for mining. That's, you know, we don't have to worry about that. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to take everything that was great about Kerbal Space Program modded, get that as the base game, and just compound upon it and add so many cool things on top of it. And finally, one of the last amazing things about this is we're actually going to get a working multiplayer. Now, there was a multiplayer mod for this game, which was very rough. Like, Kerbal Space Program's multiplayer was rough. Very, very interestingly rough. But now we're actually getting a multiplayer, which, on top of that being console access, it's going to open a lot of doors for people who have never played Kerbal that are suddenly going to be like, this is something I can do with my friends? Let's fucking go. I think the opportunities for this game are absolutely endless, and is going to be just such an amazing base that it's just going to grow and compound over time to be just this legendary game that its predecessor already was, but even more. I'm just super stoked for this, man. Like, I know, like, I'm just making this video because a lot of you are new and weren't around for the KSP days, and I don't want you to be like, oh, did Devil just find out Kerbal exists? No, assholes. I've been around the block. We got some stuff, man. We went and did some Kerbal, and we're coming back to it. But I am super fucking excited for this. I think this should be on everyone's radar. I don't care if you didn't play the first Kerbal. This is, to me, this is required playing, just like Stalker series is. Everyone needs to experience Kerbal. Everyone needs to try Kerbal Space Program too, because it is building to be something absolutely legendary. But I wanted to know what you guys think. Are you excited for Kerbal? Are you worried about it? Are you excited for the return to Kerbal? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.